2020. Okay. It is 5:01, and we have a quorum here with, absent is Alfonso Kolb Sr., and I call the meeting to order. Is there any comment on the agenda?
No comments
Okay.
before we go to closed.
Okay, no comment before we go to closed session. We will recess into closed session. It is 6:03 and welcome. We have a quorum present. Member Kolb Sr. is absent, and we are going to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance with the Vexler clan. That's Grant, Madeline, Kelly, and Riley. Will you please come up and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? So cute. Come on up here. They win. Yay. Darling, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. You do it at your school. Good. So cute. Darling. Okay. There is nothing to report out of closed session, so will we move to approve the agenda? Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Okay, and a second?
I'll second.
And any discussion? Being none, we will vote. Member Benjamin?
Aye.
Member Caputo?
Aye.
Member Kolb Sr. is absent. Member Worthy?
Aye.
And Member Stroh votes aye. Now, what you're all here for, the recognition, great part of our meeting that we love. It is to recognize our certificated and classified employees, and we're going to have Principal Aaron Little recognize. We have Kenny Vexler, and we also have, I'm looking at my, Marianne Godfrey. So anyways, here we go, and thank you, Principal Little, for recognizing.
Thank you very much. President Stroh, members of the board, Superintendent McCowan, and district representatives. My name is Aaron Little, and I'm honored to be the principal at Valley Center High School. Tonight, I'm happy to share with you our classified and certificated employees of the month. The classified employee of the month for Valley Center High School is Mrs. Mary Ann Godfrey. You can stand right there. You get to stand right there. Okay. So Mary Ann is our lead attendance clerk, a position she's held since 2009. Mary Ann's exemplary work ethic, meticulous attention to detail, and commitment to her role contribute significantly to the school's smooth functioning. For anyone who knows how schools are funded and the value student daily attendance plays into that, you know very well the incredible importance there is to having someone trusted and hardworking in that office. Beyond her professional excellence, Mary Ann stands out for her genuine interest in forming personal connections with students and families who enter her office every day. Her warm and welcoming demeanor fosters an inclusive atmosphere, and she takes the time to know each student by name. Mary Ann's efforts extend beyond her job description, making her not only an indispensable part of the main office team, but also a beloved figure in the lives of students, staff, and family. Her personalized approach and commitment to detail make her a deserving recipient of the Classified Employee of the Month and a positive force within our high school community. However, I feel that a true sign of a person's value is not what I say, but rather in what their colleagues say about them. So here are just a few comments from her colleagues. Mary Ann is extremely deserving of this recognition. She has a very challenging and stressful job and yet does amazing work at it. She's very efficient in her work, and her calm, reassuring demeanor is welcoming. Mary Ann is an unstoppable force in the attendance office. She handles all the situations that arise on a daily basis with grace and a good attitude. She's an incredibly important and a valued JAG. And those are just a few comments that I've received from Mary Ann. Mary Ann, we are grateful for you that you show up to work every day and put forth the effort you do. Our school and our community are better places because of you. Congratulations on being named the Valley Center High School Classified Employee of the Month.
Thank you.
Where are you driving? We're going to get a picture.
Oh, okay. Great. Thank you. Oh, I love it.
Sorry, the other thing that we wanted to start, and this is new with our Employees of the Month this month, and something that we're just starting as a group of administrators and the school board, we have gotten challenge coins. And the challenge coin is kind of given out as a thank you for the great work that you do, but could also be anything for, just being so supportive of our district. And I think we have a picture of the challenge coin because I know you can't see it there. This is the challenge coin, and I think the back of it here really represents, Marianne, the job that you do with every child until the last moment, and just the great work you do. So with that, I will shake your hand with the challenge coin and congratulate you.
Thank you. I
Thank you.
appreciate
And
that.
thank you so much.
I will take a picture. I just will say thank you to Mr. McCowan for hiring me 16 years ago. Seems like it hasn't been that long, but I'm happy to be a part of this district. And I just want to thank the admin team for all they do and support me and always have my back. And of course, the amazing ladies that work in the office, they have supported me and they're always ready to jump in and do whatever I need because sometimes it can get crazy. So thank you all very much. I really appreciate this. Thank you.
Okay, so it is my pleasure to introduce to you this year's Certificated Employee of the Month, Mr. Kenny Vexler. All right, buddy. So congratulations to Kenny for earning the Certificated Employee of the Month. Kenny is the true embodiment of the values and work ethic of the Valley Center community. Kenny has taught in our science department since the 2021 school year in room 700, a classroom his father once occupied. As someone who also once taught on the same staff as his own father, as well as at his alma mater, I know firsthand how special that it is, and also how strange it can be when you first start. Over the past 4 years, Kenny has found his place not as a former student, but rather as an invaluable colleague. Kenny is not just an excellent science teacher who easily makes the types of connections with his students that allow for a dynamic classroom experience, but he is also a quiet, steady leader on campus. From coaching soccer to leading the freshman 9-time program to helping lead the ASB program, Kenny's impact on our campus this year has been quietly profound. Raised a Jaguar, he carries on the legacy of teaching excellence started by his father, demonstrating a commitment that extends beyond the classroom. His influence is felt throughout our school community, creating a positive and empowering environment. A few words from his colleagues. Kenny's been a steady force and a consistent and positive role model on campus for leadership and ASB while still coaching soccer. His endless hours of dedication should be recognized. He deserves to be our Employee of the Month. Kenny has worked tirelessly as a teacher, coach, and advisor this year. He is always positive and respectful towards students and staff. He's gone way above and beyond to help serve our school, being the consistent role model to the leadership and ASB students. He spends countless hours serving our school. Kenny, this recognition is well-deserved acknowledgement of your dedication to shaping the next generation of leaders and your integral role in fostering the values that define our close-knit community. Congratulations.
Thank you, everyone. I didn't know I was going to speak tonight, so I don't have anything prepared. But members of the board, thank you all. As Mr. Little said, following in my father's footsteps has been great. As you all probably know, I have learned from his mistakes. But no, thank you all to everyone. Thank you, Mr. Little, and the admin in the back, Ms. Villalobos. All the support I get from everyone here on campus, since the time I was, 14 years old, until I won't say how many years later, but, and then thank you, of course, to all my family, friends, my wife for letting me spend those countless hours at school. So thank you. I'm very humbled and honored to have this.
So I want to give Kenny the same coin. I kind of messed up on the back of the saying. It's until the last moment, until the last child we lead, we serve, we grow. And you really emphasize, or you're the epitome of that. And just really has been the glue that has held our leadership and our ASB together this year. And you can always find Kenny because he's either coaching girls soccer, he's working with the leadership ASB kids, or he's fine-tuning his craft as a biology teacher. Really just a great, hardworking individual. So thanks, Kenny.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. I remember when Kenny was at it.
And I just want to say something because Kenny, okay, I'm part of our foundation too, who we put on the golf tournament, different events. Every time I call and ask him for support, he is always with a peppy voice, sure, yes, how can I help? And that is huge. So thank you, because you helped the old folks too, who were trying to raise money to get the kids involved. And that means a lot. So I appreciate your spirit. And you're awesome, and your dad's awesome. And you've stepped right in there. Thank you. Very much. Before, oh,
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Keep going.
yeah, you're just going to go on to what your presentation
I
is.
was going to look up
We're-
and see.
This is our fabulous principal, Principal Aaron Little,
Okay.
with his presentation.
All right, thank you. President Stroh, members of the board, Superintendent McCowan, and district representatives, this year at Valley Center High School, our school-wide focus has been around student engagement. When considering the concept of engagement, it becomes clear when we break down its significance across various aspects of a school environment. This year, we identified 3 areas, what I like to call the 3 C's of engagement. The first is the classroom. The core of our students' daily activities reside within the classroom setting. Therefore, our school-wide focus has been dedicated to enhancing the student experience within classrooms, irrespective of the subject or grade level. The next is campus. Extending beyond the confines of the classroom, we have been committed to ensuring that students feel a sense of belonging and participation in the broader campus community. We feel that it's essential for our students to actively engage with the campus culture on a daily basis. And finally, community. Recognizing the importance of a connection beyond our school grounds, I'm proud of the relationships and the influence our school has created within the community. Within the classroom, as a staff, we focused on 3 types of student engagement. The first being cognitive, how we expect our students to think about their subjects. The next is emotional, how we expect our students to feel about their subjects. And then last, physical, what we expect our students to do with the subjects they are learning. Now, as we have focused on cognitive engagement, our teachers this year have been asked to spend time rethinking their expectations of their students. We've stressed moving away from the sit and get so many of us grew up with and moving towards critical thinking and asking our students to apply what they are learning. We want our students to be active learners and not regurgitators of information. And as you can see up there, we have a couple of examples of student work when our teachers are not just being asked or asking our students to just tell what they know, but actually put it into action and put it into displays. Emotional engagement is making connections between the subjects students are learning and the lives of our students. I think it's safe to say that everyone in this room learns better when they can relate to what is being taught to them. More and more this year, as I've walked through our classrooms, I have seen the efforts of our teachers relating their topics to their students. On the screen, you can see some examples. An example of our ASL classes reading grocery advertisements and practicing signing food names, as well as some of our AP Physics students looking at computer data simulations regarding periodic motion. One of my favorites, and I'm glad she's here today and she doesn't know that I use this, is Mrs. Villalobos' 9th grade English class. Students were asked to learn about figurative language and were given the creativity to demonstrate their knowledge however they saw fit. And I want to show an example here just for a moment of one of her kiddos. I didn't do the whole thing, but it's about a minute's worth, so if you can hit play.
Hola, hola, buenos dias and buenas noches. Welcome back to the FL Game Show, where today we're going to be getting a bunch of figurative language words. Either I will list the definition of the word,
Says Steve Harvey
or
across
the
his
word
chest
itself.
if you can't read
The
it.
contestants
So.
will have
If the
to
mustache doesn't
find
give
the
it away.
definition or the word itself, so they can pass and get points to succeed. The winner will win $1,000. You heard me right. So today we have 2 contestants. Get ready to introduce them to the show. Our first lucky contestant for the $1,000 prize is Rebecca Wow. On our right side, we have the contender, Julia Ruiz, against Rebecca Welch. Who will take the $1,000? Okay, ya vamos. Our first question is, what is the definition and 2 examples of a hyperbole?
Cliffhanger. Sorry. You'll have to ask Mrs. Villalobos who ended up winning. And Michael, we need to talk about the $1,000 prize, by the way, when we're done here. So, but that's a fantastic example of putting learning into action right there. That's being done on our campus on a daily basis. Finally, as a staff, we have spent time learning from research that students who are physically active, engaged in learning, retain more. As seen on the screen, it's becoming more and more routine for our students to be asked to get up physically and move within the classroom. They're routinely giving presentations to their classmates, physically manipulating and examining financial information like you're seeing up there in the applied math class down on the right hand. While it's easy to sit up here and acknowledge the great things our kids are doing in class, none of it would be happening without the willingness and enthusiasm of our staff. This year, they have been asked to re-examine their teaching practices and be willing and vulnerable to acknowledge that they could make changes to help our students. On the screen, you are seeing our February ERD professional development. During this time, 6 teachers volunteered and agreed to teach 10-minute lessons and how they engage their students within the classrooms to their colleagues. Everyone else was given a mini schedule and sat in the place of students to learn from their peers, and they got a chance to feel the perspective of our students. An incredibly powerful day, if I do say so myself, as well as a day that I feel is emblematic of the incredibly positive attitude our staff has had this year towards improving their practices. Beyond the classroom, a continued focus on engaging our students with campus culture has taken place this year. Whether it be inviting a mariachi band during the pep rally and lunch for Hispanic Heritage Month, providing video games, free food, and other games at JAGS United events, our successful freshman orientation 9-time program that we just heard about from Mr. Vexler, or an introduction of the program, positive behavioral interventions and supports, or by writing the name of every student on a heart and displaying them all throughout campus on Valentine's Day. We want each student to feel connected to campus and feel like they belong. If you come tomorrow, you'll see a green version of this as well tomorrow. So a simple act, but a really powerful act in which our kids really have embraced. Just seeing their name on something is a big deal. Finally, we believe that there is room to engage and connect with our community beyond the VCHS campus. This past year, we have brought to our families opportunities like our What's in Your Vape presentation and next week's 8th grade family night. And we have expanded our connections to our feeder schools with relationships built by our teachers. On the screen, you can see Mrs. McGinnis's class of seniors who are pen pals to our students at the elementary school and have made visits to read to their younger pals. Additionally, you can see a new connection that was made just this last week when Chef Storms invited 5th graders to his culinary class, and our upperclassmen taught the younger students how to make cookies and other sweets. Now, a question you may be asking is, what impact have these efforts had on our students? While there are many measures that show the success that these efforts have had on our campus, a few of them can be seen on the screen if you squint. While there is still work to be done, our California dashboard results show that we have made huge strides in lowering our suspension rates. We have had a 15% increase in students who are progressing towards qualifying out of EL, and our ELA and math scores have made tremendous increases. Lastly, if you bring your eyes to the chart on the right, what you will see is dramatic decrease in F counts from the fall of last year to the fall of this year. You can see that the F counts in Title VI, special education, and EL students dropped by over 23%. And overall, the number of F grades earned by our students as a whole decreased by over 40% from the fall of last year to the fall of this year. This is a testament to the hard work our teachers put in this year, and the connections they have made with our students have resulted in increased engagement and improved campus culture. There is work still to be done, but we're proud of how far we have come. Thank you for the opportunity to share such wonderful things that are happening on the Valley Center High School campus tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Principal Little, for this awesome student engagement report and the great success. That 40%, that's huge. But congratulations to Kenny and Mary Ann and all their wonderful family for coming. But thank you. And at this time, Superintendent McCowan wants to say.
Yeah, at this point, usually we let our guests who are here for celebrations leave. It really helps for the little guys to be able to get out and run around again. But we do have one other big announcement that the board will be voting on in just a few minutes. I wanted to announce why we have everybody here, and that is a new elementary principal that we have coming on board with us, and that is Valerie Wallenberg. Valerie, could you stand up for a minute? And we just wanted to recognize you and tell you how much we're looking forward to you joining the team. Valerie has been teaching in our school district for the last 2 years as a TOSA, teacher on special assignment, and will now move into an administrative position beginning next school year. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
And now we'll dismiss.
And now we'll dismiss you. We'll take a few minutes to say your goodbyes and highs and congratulations. So about 3-4 minutes, and then we'll move on to the next business part of our meeting. Thank you.
Michael, did you?
Okay. That was fun. That's the best part of the meeting, right there. So fun. Yes. Oh, darling. I'm glad you got all of those. It was so cute. Okay. We are ready to move back to our meeting. I know all those joyful hugs and have we received any requests to address the board?
No requests tonight.
Okay, being none, we will move forward into our next part. And the consent agenda items. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, and a second?
I'll second.
And second, and is there any discussion regarding those items? Okay, not being none, we will move forward. Member Benjamin?
Aye.
Member Caputo?
Aye.
Member Kolb Sr. is absent. Member Worthy?
Aye.
And Member Stroh votes aye. Moving to our next section.
All right, we'll move on to the superintendent's division. Got a couple slides here of showing what's gone on in the school district this last month. So right off the bat here, we'll start with our Read Across America Day, which actually seems like it's a week, if not a month-long celebration here in Valley Center, which makes it a lot of fun and gets an opportunity to get our kids out reading. Here you can see down at Pauma, we had the fire department come out and some guests that read to our students, and just how important it is for us to get members of the community, especially mentors, to come out and read to the kids. And you can just imagine if you're a first grader, getting the firemen to read for you is a real thrill. Here we have some more pictures here of the different books that were read, and some artwork that one of the students did. Here over at the primary school, we have our Read Day. You can notice in a lot of these pictures, the kids are still in their pajamas. That's one of the celebration days, is they get to stay in their pajamas for Read Day. And the teachers too, and even principals, as we see Mr. Reineck there. Great outfit. Is that a onesie, by the way? Yeah. Just the top. Okay. But you can see the kids over at Lilac. They're just loving the Read Day. Here we went on a tour with our board to a couple different schools. We had our new board member with us. She's reading in Mrs. Cammie's class, and you can see her first graders, kindergartners, sitting, listening attentively. And here's away from Read Day, we wanted to show our Lady Jaguars, our girls wrestling team, and I'll let you read up there the different places that they got at the CIF championship. Also there we have our Coach Clifford. He's been coaching with us since we opened, and was even my high school wrestling coach. So he's been helping out in coaching wrestling for decades. And then we also want to congratulate our Valley Center Middle School drum team. You can see our Thunderhawks here in school colors. They won their first competition of the year in the drum line. And then here we have Mrs. Day. She was recognized as one of the nominations for the Outstanding School Social Worker. And she does a great job. She works down at the district office and then goes out to the different sites and helps a lot of our students and their families, so that we can help educate and get their kids to school and have them be successful with us. So we wanted to congratulate her. She does a great job for us in our district. And then I wanted to make sure that everybody knows that we have a play going on at the middle school, not at the Maxine, it's at the middle school. It's the middle school play called Frozen. You can see that it's March 8th and 15th at 6:30, and then the 10th and the 17th. So you have, looks like 2 more opportunities to get out there and see the play this weekend. And with that, I will turn it back over for board business.
Okay. Thank you. We are going to move forward to our nomination for members for CSBA, the Delegate Assembly. And do I have a motion for any of those members?
I'd like to make a motion for several candidates.
Okay.
Eddie Jones, Guy Wamuk, Dawn Perfect, Rhea Stewart, and Marla Stritch.
Okay. And do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, and any discussion? Anybody have anybody else you'd like to? Okay, being none, let's vote for those members. Member Benjamin?
Aye.
Member Caputo?
Aye.
Member Worthy?
Aye.
And Member Kolb Sr. is absent. Member Stroh votes aye. Moving to the Educational Services Division. Live well, San Diego.
Yeah, I would, so thank you. I'd like to present an opportunity for our school district to join in partnership with the organization known as Live Well San Diego. So tonight for the board, we're working with this organization. We've done work with them in the past, and basically what we hope to move forward with is a partnership that will allow for our district to access more direct services for our students and families. Live Well provides services throughout the county related to food, home supplies, school supplies, health and medical, mental health, so many services. And through a partnership with a school district, the school district, on behalf of its families that it serves, can work with Live Well to speed up the process by which families can access those services. As an unincorporated part of San Diego too, we also can access direct services where we can actually work with LiveWell to have a mental health care worker or a social worker come out to our district to provide direct services on our behalf. So this is a really, really good opportunity that I would like to present to the board. To do that, LiveWell asked us to present a resolution for your approval. And the resolution is just an acknowledgement of our willingness to partner. And so that is presented for you here tonight. And then following that, if we do choose to move forward and go forward with that resolution, LiveWell will come back with us with more of a formal presentation cementing that partnership in place.
So do we make a motion first or discuss? I have a couple questions there.
We're going to make a motion and
Okay.
then on discussion.
Okay,
So is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, and a second?
I'll second.
Okay, and now any discussion?
So it sounds great. Is there any downside to this? And is there any financial obligation on the school district's part, or it's all them donating to us?
So there are no downsides or any real requirements on us as a district. So by joining in partnership, we're able to access services that this agency of the county already has in place. And so there really is there's no financial piece that comes in, and there really are no negatives. The great part is and really what I think and our Director of Student Services, Mrs. Howard, has found that, accessing some of these resources sometimes can take time. And, working with an organization like this, that, I'll just give and I'm going beyond your question, sorry. But just for example of finding a shelter or a home for a homeless family, that is something that can take a long time. But through working with an organization like this, we can dramatically speed up that process. And then also we can work with that family better, partnering with this agency to get that in place. So no, there are no specific requirements put on us.
Cool. Sounds great.
And I have a question. So LiveWell San Diego, that's its own entity, or is there something behind it, like UCSD behind it?
So it's a division of the San Diego County Health and Human Services Office. It operates as an independent organization under that umbrella, but it does receive funding through the county and different grants and different things like that.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion?
I have a question.
Yes.
How do families and students find out about these services if we were to?
So one of the things that we'll be able to do, they'll be able to provide us with flyers, with information about events, not only that are already occurring in the county, but through this partnership, they will actually put in place for the community of Valley Center. So they'll work with us, and we'll be able to send out those resources to families. And then we can also, as I mentioned, put in direct requests. So essentially, we can put in a request on behalf of the district for a family, and then they will come to us and help provide those services.
Great, thanks.
And they help promote it then?
Absolutely,
Okay,
yes.
Great, okay. Anything else? Good questions?
No.
Okay, being nothing, we have a second. Let's vote.
Yep.
Member Veneman?
Aye.
Member Caputo?
Aye.
Member Kolb Senior is absent. Member Worthy?
Aye.
And Member Stroh votes aye. I think that's a great. Moving forward into our business division. And to receive, go ahead, Michael.
I was just going to say we have Representative John Whitehouse from Chrissy White, our external auditors, here to present our audit for the last year's fiscal.
Thank you. Our interim phase begins in the spring, followed by our year-end phase in the fall. Our audit is limited to, or includes but not limited to documenting and testing internal controls in areas such as purchasing, cash disbursements, and payroll. We test state compliance in areas such as attendance reporting and instructional time. And we conducted a single audit, which includes testing internal controls and program compliance over major federal programs. So the federal programs are the federal grants the district receives. So for this year, we tested 3 federal programs, those being the Education Stabilization Funds for discretionary grants, or the CARES Act monies, and the Special Education Cluster, as well as the Child Nutrition Cluster. And finally, we tested all June 30, 2023 balance sheet accounts, such as cash accounts receivable, accounts payable, capital assets, long-term debt, along with all revenues across and expenditures across all funds. Before moving on, I wanted to provide some context about responsibilities over the audit. First off, the responsibilities of management for the financial statements. They're responsible for the preparation and the fair presentation of the financial statements in accordance with accounting principles generally accepted in the United States of America. While our responsibilities as auditors is to obtain reasonable assurance, not absolute, about whether the financial statements as a whole are free of material misstatement, whether due to error or fraud, and to issue independent auditors' reports that include our opinions. The results of our audit tests are reflected in the independent auditors' reports and summary of auditors' results. We opined on the financial statements as a whole, the report on state compliance, and the report on federal compliance, all which were given unmodified opinions for the fiscal year. An unmodified opinion is the best opinion you can receive from an external audit firm. It means there was no material misstatements or anything pervasive that we were able to find. On page 78 of the report is the summary of auditors' results. It's a great page and kind of summary of the report, which provides our opinions. It provides some additional context on if there's any significant deficiencies, material weaknesses, and some programs that we tested, the 3 that I just kind of went over on the federal compliance side. Overall, there was one finding that was disclosed in the report for this year, and that related to the state compliance section. So I'll touch base on that quickly. So on page 81 of the report, there was one finding for in relation to the School Accountability Report Card, or the SARC. So during our testing of the SARC at Valley Center Elementary School, we noted that there was some inconsistencies for one of the system components presented in the SARC. So we compare that to a facilities inspection tool, which is someone from facilities or maintenance goes out and rates the different elements of the school. And on the SARC rating for that school, restrooms and fountains were rated as good. However, on the FIT form itself, the source document, that was it was indicated as poor. So there's just a slight discrepancy between the two. The cause is really just an administrative oversight. There is no question cost associated with this finding. It's just was it in compliance with the state requirements? So we are required to disclose this finding. There is a corrective action plan that the district has provided, just ensuring that going forward they're going to implement additional procedures to make sure that there are no discrepancies or inconsistencies noted. Any questions about the report? Overall, the district is in a good financial position. I believe that the net position overall for the district, I think it ended around $39 million for the year, which was an increase of about $21 million year over year. And the district has some healthy reserves, which slightly increased year over year from about 33% to about 35 or 36%. So overall, those are healthy reserves, which is great to have going into the outlook in the next few years with all the uncertainty. Any questions?
Thank you for your thorough and efficient, clear report. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Anybody? Any questions? Okay, moving forward. We will vote. Do I have a motion first?
So moved.
And a second?
I'll second.
What is
Oh.
this? Oh, I thought we were moving right up. I thought that was what that was. Okay, we have one other thing. Go, Michael. When I was reading that, it looked like that was the report.
Oh.
My bad.
No problem. Thank you, President Stroh. Once again, I'd like to thank our Director of Finance, Laura Anzo, for her extremely hard work in preparing this second interim report. As Mr. Whitehouse just alluded to, the coming years look to be pretty difficult, and we will touch on that a little bit on this presentation. The second interim is the district's second opportunity to go over the district's budget that was adopted back in June. It includes financial information that has happened through January 2024, as well as a forecast for the remaining of the fiscal year. But before speaking about our specific budget, I'd like to talk about the state's budget, because 40 to 50% of the state's budget goes to K through 14 educational funding. So any impact to the state's budget has a really big impact on our district. Last year, the state overestimated revenue by $26 billion, and this year it's not looking much better. The anticipated deficit is anywhere between $58 billion and $73 billion for this fiscal year. So on this slide, I just wanted to show how that impacts the Prop 98 guarantee. Every year, the state does a true-up where the difference in the previous year's assumptions are corrected through a prior year adjustment. For our district, the average for the prior 5 years has been an additional $40,000 thereabout for additional revenue for our district. But this will be a completely opposite case for us. We have already received these funds, so they are currently in our balance. But as of now, there is no indication of how the state is looking to fix their error and if they will possibly recoup some of those funds. This is a side-by-side comparison of our budget assumptions between our adopted budget and the current second interim report. As was the case in the first interim, we're anticipating more revenue and higher expenditures as compared to budget adoption back in June. The increase in revenue is primarily due to one-time funds. Along with the programs discussed during the first interim presentation, we have since received almost $500,000 for a new literacy coaches and reading specialist grant. Expenditures now reflect a 10% increase for all of our staff members. And the net result is that we are now looking at a budget deficit of almost $1.7 million this year, as opposed to the budget surplus that we had predicted at the start of the year. Looking to future years, above you will find the assumptions for our multi-year projection. One thing I'd like to note is that at budget adoption, the next year's COLA was anticipated to be 3.94%, and now it's down to 0.76%. Due to the low COLA and decreasing enrollment, we anticipate receiving less LCFF funding next year. Our enrollment, our ADA, our unduplicated pupil count, and the new PERS projected rates have all been adjusted to reflect the latest data. Other assumptions remain the same as first interim. As you can see, we are projecting large deficits for the next 3 years. However, I want to emphasize a couple of things about our projections. The first is that these projections assume no changes to our budgets. They include assumptions for the increasing cost of materials and supplies due to inflation and the increase of staffing costs due to step and column and the rising cost of statutory benefits. Secondly, the revenue is based off assumptions that the governor's latest budget proposal will come to fruition. Many, including the Legislative Analyst's Office, believe that the proposal for the governor is overly optimistic, so that's something that we are definitely keeping an eye on. And lastly, and hopefully most positively, we are fortunate to be starting from a favorable position financially. This means we'll be better prepared to handle any financial challenges that may be coming our way. All of that being said, we are not sitting back and waiting for things to happen. We are taking proactive steps to safeguard the financial stability of our district. This includes closely monitoring our finances, identifying areas for improvement, and implementing strategies to address the drastic projected decrease in funding in the coming years. By taking these proactive measures, we're confident that we'll be able to navigate through these challenging times and emerge just as strong as we have. In this slide, you can see the impact of our current assumptions on the unrestricted ending fund balance. As our enrollment and ADA decline, we anticipate experiencing significant declines in our reserves over the next couple of years. However, we project to maintain a healthy enough balance that we will be able to meet our financial obligations for this year and the subsequent 2 years. And with that in mind, our recommendation is that the board adopt a positive certification for today's second interim report. Here are some things that we're keeping an eye on. We are projecting that enrollment and therefore ADA will continue to decline. However, we're fortunate that we have had some new real estate development in the community, which has kind of been mitigating the decline that we would have seen otherwise. As mentioned earlier, the state's budget is in a precarious situation and very little is known about how this will play out in terms of K through 14 funding. And finally, the district is aware that a large portion of the funding since COVID has been one-time in nature. As funds expire and revenue becomes more normalized in the out years, we'll continue to make adjustments as needed. As stated in the previous slide, the district continues to experience declining enrollment. Following COVID, the district was held harmless for a few years. However, the funding formula has returned to normal and our anticipated revenue will be negatively impacted. This slide is meant to serve as an illustration of the large increases to revenue following COVID. While some of these increases can also be attributed to the larger than normal COLA, a lot of these funds were from one-time programs such as the CARES Act, American Rescue Plan, and 2 large block grants that were allocated just last year. So what's next? Over the next couple of months, we will begin the hard work of putting together next year's budget. In the middle of May, the governor will present his May revise, and we will monitor whether his proposals are going to stick or not. We will bring a proposed budget for your approval to the June board meeting, and as always, the board will exercise its stewardship of public funds to ensure that we are maximizing opportunities for our students and striving to maintain a balanced budget. Thank you for your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Okay, thank you very much. And we'll move forward and then ask what you want to engage in. Some, does anyone have a question now?
Yeah, no, thank you for all your hard work. I mean, it seems like we're in a good place, but really so much of it is the state that's totally out of our control. So we'll just see what it is. Cool.
Yeah, like I said, I think we're in a fortunate position that we have decent enough reserves that we can adjust over time slowly so that there isn't a drastic change for our students and for our staff.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You know, Paul, to a certain point, and Michael's been in the business department, I think the whole time I've been superintendent or pretty close to it. And we've always talked that, you know, the budget's going to come in bad one of these years. And it seemed like the budget, you know, kind of kept getting better. And but we knew this was going to happen at some point. But really, when you look at the misses by the state of $28 billion the current year, plus going into next year, totaling up to 58, maybe even to 73 billion, that was a lot more of a miss than what we thought that it would be. But still, with our healthy reserves, we feel that by adjusting our budget over a period of time, we won't have to make some of these drastic cuts that you're seeing or reading about in the newspapers, that it'll be a lot more of a soft landing, hopefully, for our district.
Okay. Good.
And I just want to say, over the years, I've seen, because of good stewardship with our money, because we were down. I mean, all school districts were. It was kind of scary for a while, but we have that great healthy reserve, and huge thanks to all of the people working in the finance department, our great superintendent, for that. So, anything, we'll move forward to a motion to approve.
Also move.
Okay, and a second.
I'll second.
Okay, any further discussion? Let's vote. Member Benjamin?
Aye.
Member Caputo?
Aye.
Member Kolb Senior is absent. Member Worthy?
Aye.
And Member Stroh votes aye. Advanced planning. Our
Yeah.
regular,
I'd just like to make a comment on the advanced planning
Yes.
here. And as the board knows, we've been piloting a new math program. We've piloted a couple of new math programs. What we'd like to do is take our April board meeting and have it start at 4 o'clock with a public session. And during that public session, we believe we'll have possibly one of those math curriculums to bring forward to the board, where the board then will be able to hear a presentation on that and then have an opportunity to look through the curriculum for about an hour. Then we would go into closed session, and then that materials that are out would then be open to anybody in the community that might want to also view those. There is a chance that we could come into April and not have a new curriculum because we're really taking a group of teachers who are piloting it and really looking at what they think about the curriculum. So it could be that we come back in April and the hour before the closed meeting is more working on what a new pilot system might look like or what we'll go to as math curriculum from here on out. But we do hope to bring you one, but if not, I think there could be plenty of good discussion on where we go next. So either way, I'd like to recommend that we start the next board meeting at 4 o'clock with a public session. The board then would go into closed session at 5. The community would have an hour also to look at the materials, and then we would come back out at 6 o'clock.
Okay,
6 o'clock for a regular meeting.
Regular
Okay.
Keep
public
that the
meeting.
same.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
okay, great, thank you for that information. And then we'll get that,
We'll put it out both in the
Once you
local
decide,
papers,
yeah,
in the
okay.
Roadrunner, on our website and everything,
We
and
all
then, of course,
notify.
we'll send it
Okay.
out to the board members.
perfect. All right, okay, so adjournment, next regular board meeting will be April 18th, so remember that's a week after April, of course, we're on spring break, at 4 p.m. at the VCHS Media Center. And if the board agrees, let's vote to adjourn the meeting.
Also moved.
Okay, second?
I'll second.
And any discussion? Let's vote. Member Benjamin?
Aye.
Member Caputo?
Aye.
Member Kolb Senior is absent. Member Worthy?
Aye.
And Member Stroh votes aye. And we are adjourned at, what